let's talk. I have pages of notes, guys. Pages. Because October 25th, 2018 is when I signed my Exp contract. And that's 2 years anniversary, and that means a lot has happened.
What 2 years can do? Oh my gosh. It's unbelievable.
It is. So I wanted to go through a little bit, kind of like just chatting with the hubby about them.
Yeah.
So October 25th, signed a contract. November 2nd, I made a post about the 7 different streams of income. So I went to Tony Robbins seminars, and he talks about how the multimillionaires and the billionaires of the world have multiple streams of income, and they only trade their time for one of those incomes. So I was like, I went into that business mastery thinking like I was the in town, excuse my French, to realize, hold on a minute, all of my eggs were in one basket. It was in that commission basket. If that goes down, well, how are we going to pay the bills?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So something had to change. So I made that post on November 2nd talking about the 7 streams of income. So switching to EXP has crossed off many of those because we have commissions, which I had at the previous brokerage.
Yep.
Now we have revenue share, which I had something similar in a previous brokerage called profit share. Can't compare the two.
No.
We have stocks, which we did not have with either of the previous companies. So it pretty much allows you to have something. So think of it this way. If you leave your brokerage today, you walk out on the door, no matter if you work there for a year, for 10 years, for 30 years, maybe you spent a lifetime with them, what do you have to show for besides the transactions that are pending? After you close out those transactions, do you have something?
Yeah, it's kind of like renting versus buying. Like, what do we tell our clients all the time? Don't rent.
Exactly.
You have to own a home. You have to build equity. You have to gain something out of it in the long run, right? That's what we tell everybody. It's what we're the biggest hypocrites on earth if you're not in a model.
And then here we are renting our office from the real estate brokerage. So then it checks that off because our stocks, that's something that we can actually retire on.
Yeah.
At the very end, I'm going to show you what we have earned in the 2 years with EXP. And this is, by the way, a video about what has happened to us in the 2 years of me joining EXP and then this stud joining EXP pretty much a year later.
Yeah, a year later.
So that also the other program that they have, it's called the Icon program. So that allows us to not only, when you're a rock star agent and you're doing tens and hundreds of transactions, there's no other brokerage that I personally know of, and correct me if I'm wrong, that will give you a cap back. So no matter how much I did 49 transactions a year before I switched. And so that means that no matter how big of a rock star agent I am and top producer, I'm going to be paying my cap and they're going to be keeping it. And yes, at some point I get to 100%, but there's no chance for me to get that cap back.
Well, depending on what brokerage you're with, right?
Yeah.
Some brokerages you never cap.
That's
you
the
always
other.
pay
That's the
8%.
other thing. Whatever brokerage you are with, if you never cap, run. If you're a top producer, because that means it's only 5%. Okay, times that 100 transaction average commission, I don't know, $7,000. So you're paying $350 per transaction 100 times over. That will add up. So do the math in the end of the year.
Yeah,
I work for
sure.
money. I don't know what you work for, but I work for money. So that was the other thing. The other thing that was so the Icon program where you can actually earn your cap back. The other thing that was very important for me is my brand. Can I continue doing business under my brand? Can I continue and generating multiple revenues of income with all of the affiliate links, building my own bootcamp for social media training, and now agent attraction training? Am I allowed to do that if I bring my business over? And the answer was yes.
Yes.
So I was like, cha-ching, check mark. It checked off every single thing on our plan of having multiple incomes or revenues of income, and many of them we wanted to be passive because we want to be able to live anywhere we want to live. We are not a tree, so we can pick up life and go live somewhere. So
Thanks
check
to John
everything.
Kitch's little reminder on that one, right? You're not a
Thanks,
tree,
John
guys.
Kitchen.
Why do you live in Michigan?
He reminded us, why do we live in Michigan? So that was November 2nd. November 10th, I had my very first agent joining EXP with me. And sadly, she's no longer with us.
Okay.
She left. It wasn't a good fit, but who knows? Maybe she'll come back one day at the time. But since then, guys, we are at 283 agents. I checked today.
Wow.
And 106 of those I personally brought to the company. 89 of them stayed. Some left. EXP is not for everybody. It's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. So that's okay. If it's not for you, that's okay. And it's not for everybody. But the very first agent that joined with me was November 10th. November 12th, I made a quote about being a trailblazer. And I wanted to talk about this one. I make quotes about every 6 posts of mine is a quote. And I wanted to talk about this one is because trailblazer, being a trailblazer is something that it is kind of out there. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not the normal person. You're doing something that is so out of the norm, but you got the balls, to do it. So you're a trailblazer. You're setting the steps for the next people to take the same steps as you've taken. And that's how I felt like, because I joined EXP when there was only 16,000 agents and people were like, EXP who?
Yeah.
EXP what? I've never heard of that. And I took the chance, and that was actually because of you. So why don't you tell them?
So that was, I'll never forget the evening, she said, hey, Kurt, a gentleman named Kurt Shewell reached out to me. He's actually Mark Z's main guy, and basically, showed the whole model to her, which, she had been approached multiple times. I mean, probably over 45 times you were approached by different EXP agents trying to get you to join them. And, I don't think anybody has the wrong intentions doing that, but when they're really just trying to say, hey, join my team, not saying, hey, here's an example of what I can provide you and help you grow with if you join us, and kind of show that aspect in that picture. And that's what I think they did for her.
And also, it's
when
like
I heard that,
go ahead.
it was huge. I mean, it was, I basically told her, hon, I know you just switched brokerages. You were basically with how many brokerages in 1 year?
Oh gosh, so let's talk about that. So I got licensed in 2011. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. He held a very successful corporate America job, and I was like, I was done with the stay-at-home mom thing. So I'm like, I need to go and get a job where I can put makeup on and look presentable every day and provide. Like I'm sorry, but I do value myself and what I bring to the relationship, and I needed to go get a real job. So I did. That was 2011, and I started with a company called Real Estate One. I was the baby, and I could get away with murder, and they were amazing. That lasted until 2018. February of 2018, KW got to me. At Real Estate One, my cap, my cut, the feel was so good that nobody for 6.5 years, even though I was a top producer, could even touch me with a 6-foot pole. And but KW had something. By that time, I had about 30-some thousand followers on Instagram. And so my reach was big, and they knew that I can bring other agents to KW. So I made the switch on February of 2018.
Yeah.
So I stayed with them for 8 months. Also, you don't know what you don't know. So your eyes are not open to things until you figure out the next available thing. And then you're like, oh, if that's possible, then hold on a minute, what else is possible? So then after I figured out profit share, now my eyes and ears were open to revenue share. And those 40-some agents that tried to get me to come to EXP, has always pitched it in a way of like how they would benefit from my reach versus how would that change my life. And so that's what Kurt and Mark were able to do for me. And after I saw it, they always say, after you see it, you can unsee it.
Yeah, and the way when she told me about it and everything I heard, I said, hon, you can't wait. You have to do this now. And she lost sleep and weight over the decision.
It took me 6 weeks to make the decision, and I was thinking, I'm like, what are my clients going to think? Seriously, what are they going to say that in the same year, if you think of it, I mean, yes, it took me 6.5 years to switch, but in the same year, so we are talking 2018, up to February of 18, I was with Real Estate One. In February to October, I was KW, and from October on, talking fast forward to 2020, I was at EXP. So I'm like, can I stick it out in one place? Like, what are my clients going to say? That was my biggest concern. But in the end of the day, I realized, you know what? I work for money. We have a family to provide.
Family, right?
Yeah, we have a family to provide for. We have a legacy. We have a lifestyle that I want to choose. If you think about it, for me, my biggest reason is I came to this country as an immigrant. So I want to make sure that I live my potential to the fullest for the American dream, because if not, then why the heck did I leave my family and my mom and dad and my sister and her children and her family and my aunts and uncles and my grandparents behind? It has to have something that I can show for in the end of the day to say, this is why, because I went for the American dream. So I couldn't be a hypocrite. I had to go for the American dream because you can't unsee it after you saw it. So I grabbed the opportunity in October. So fast forward, we are now in December of 18, we are no longer competition. That's when I realized how different the EXP model is.
Totally.
Because With
Totally.
it's so different because every model before that I worked with, it was a closed door policy. Because every top producer, you would go into their office and ask them questions of like, oh, I've never done a post-closing occupancy. Can you help me with it? I'll never forget this agent saying to me, top producer, saying to me, oh yeah, that never happened to me before. Sorry, I can't help.
Post-closing occupancy?
Post-closing occupancy never happened to you before? You're the top producer in the industry for over 10 years and you can't tell me what a PITI means on a purchase agreement? And that's when I realized,
I know that after 1 year.
Because you're protecting your slice of the pie. Because you worry that I'm going to come and take the whole freaking pie. And trust me, that's exactly what happened. Because I am very driven. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But realize that at EXP, it's totally different because we are publicly traded company, so we all earn stocks in the company. And with that being said, when I'm succeeding, when he's succeeding, when anybody else in the company is succeeding, our value goes up. And as Brand Go says, which was one of the awesomest quotes that I heard, is rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah.
So when we all succeed, all our stock values go up, which means one day we have something to retire on. And that's when I made a post on December 18th when I realized that we are no longer competition. We are now together as a unity in a company where if I do good, you do good, we all do good.
Yep.
December 21st, I got my Christmas gift from Mark Z. That's the other thing. The reason I wanted to mention this is because at EXP you get to be business partners with people. We have 7 generation up and 7 generations down. Especially the people above you, they have a vested interest in your success. So now I'm in business with the Kurt Chivas, the Mark Z's, the Dan Beers, the Curtis Johnsons, the Chuck Fazio and Angela Fazio, the Michael Rees, the Jay Kinder, Albie Stasek, Brent Gove, like all of these people who are some of the biggest rock stars in luxury real estate, in California, in Arizona, you name it, one of the largest privately owned single office brokerage in the nation, who brought over 900 agents. They have a vested interest in me and my business. And they will give their shirt off their back and their knowledge that they have earned in the past 10, 20, 30 years of real estate experience. So now we get to just take that, implement that.
They fly out here, they see us, they put on events. I mean, they're amazing. None of these people are just silent partners that sit back and relax and are just living it up and not doing anything to help everybody build their downlines and their organization. So it's amazing. I mean, it's they share everything they possibly can, and we learn so much every time we meet with them. It's phenomenal. So
upline is very important because then you get to learn from them. So if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to switch rooms. So that's why I joined this organization, is because I learned so much from them. Now I can, if I want to be the largest single office in the nation, I know who to go to. I want to be the number 2 luxury agent in the area, I know the person to go to. I want to have the largest team in the state of Michigan, I know the person to go to, and he has a vested interest in my success. So that's why that was a big deal. December 26th, by the way, day before my birthday, I posted a picture with Christy and myself. And the reason I want to mention this is because I couldn't do what I do without my Christy. She is my organizer because I am not an organized person. She is my onboarding agent because it takes a village, guys, to build a massive team. She runs all of our transactions. I have not done paperwork in over 3 to 4 years. I don't even know how to log into SkySlope. And I don't need to know how to do that because we have our Christy. So I want to give credit to her for running everything. I mean, before having Christy, our closing, yes, as doing, I suck at it. I do not like trying to think about what people need. It might be selfish. I don't think about, I don't like it. It gives me anxiety. So now when I go to closings, we have like this beautiful bag that has our branding on it, and inside there's a personalized gift. Do you have an example for that?
We don't right now.
Oh, I thought we just had a tray.
No, I just left.
Oh, he just left with the tray. We had an awesome tray. Next one, the 28. I don't know what that was. Go on your profile. I want to know who you are. I want to know what you do. Most importantly for realtors, you say you're a realtor, you don't say where. So if I'm looking for a realtor in Miami, I don't know if you're in Chicago, in San Francisco, New York, where the heck are you? I can't read my own writing.
Inside room?
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know.
Oh, but February 9th, I got featured in the Real Producer of Oakland County. So that was awesome. That is an awesome magazine. I think they're nationwide, and all of the top producers get featured in it. So that was a big deal. Mostly we do transactions in Livingston County. So to be featured in Oakland County, that was a big deal. February 20th, I became a state certified EXP mentor. And that is one of, you remember on November 2nd, we talked about all of the different incomes and how we can make money in different ways. So the mentor program at EXP, when new agents join the company or agents that have not had at least 3 transactions in the previous year prior to joining, they automatically get a mentor. So now I'm a state certified mentor. I can take agents on that need that mentor. They need that hand holding, the contract explanation. They need to shadow me, all of those things.
It's a very tough industry to break into, and my gosh, there's no SOP for it. So you definitely need something like that when you're joining.
I mean, he had 10 years, pretty much 9 years of earful before 8 years before you joined.
Yeah, but most of it went one ear out the other. But still.
Imagine the agent that doesn't know a single other realtor, has no idea what it takes and what it's like to be a realtor. So they need a mentor, and EXP has a mentor program for that, and I'm a state certified mentor in Michigan. So that's an additional 10%. So what happens is the mentee pays on their first 3 transactions, they pay, instead of 80-20 split, they pay a 60-40 split. They keep 60%, they give 40% to the company. The mentor out of the 40% gets to keep 10%. So that's an additional source of income for us for menteeing or mentoring all of these mentees. So I got certified for that on February 20th. March 22nd, I got to go to Cleveland. So that was my very first EXP mastermind. And the masterminds that these groups and the company is providing us are life-changing. I remember sitting in the room of team leaders that have 90 agents, 900 agents, like they have, 12 satellite offices. Like I was a single agent at the time, guys. Like it was a big deal being in a room less than 40, 50 agents, and they're all freaking rock stars. And these masterminds get thrown, well, now COVID is in town, so it's a little different. Some of them are online, but we get to do it most of the time in person. And the next one coming up, we are going to Cabo in February.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to that, and that's going to be Dwayne's first mastermind.
Yeah, first EXP one. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
So I'm so excited. Then, May 1st, I got to go to another mastermind, and I got to meet Tina Call and Michelle Seward. I already known Michelle Seward because she's local to me. Yeah. But I remember asking, so she was like, hey, do you want to share a room? And I was like, sure. Michelle Seward is, by the way, guys, is the queen of Downriver. Okay, she does what, like 200 transactions a year?
Oh, it's a lot.
Like way over 100. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's a small little area, guys. Like for her to do that money transaction, it's a big deal. So she's named the Queen of Downriver. So I was sharing a room with the Queen of Downriver. And she said, hey, I have this Tina girl. Do you mind if you all share a room together? Never met Tina. Yeah. I said, absolutely. I love people. More people I know, the better. But Tina happens to be one of the biggest freaking rock stars I have ever met. The cutest little 5-point-something. And
5 foot tall something. Yeah.
And she is just amazing. She moved from Michigan originally, packed her stuff up, decided to move to North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina area, and now she runs a brokerage that does over $100 million a year in real estate transactions, and brought her business over to EXP, and she is just amazing. So what I was trying to share with this, I also met Brent Gove at that same event, is the caliber of agents that we get to pick their brain. And let me put it this way, Michelle or Tina or Brent Gove, well, Brent Gove does, but Michelle and Tina does not make money off of me. Okay, in the revenue share tree here at EXP, my success has nothing, they will not benefit from it besides the stock values going up.
Sure.
But they will give me their knowledge and the time of the day, and we get to sit together and mastermind together and grow together. Every single day. Every time Tina does something that I don't have, it's a system, it's a spreadsheet, it's a whatever, I'm like, that's a great idea. Can I please have a copy? Actually, perfect example. We just started our official team, while we always been a team at EXP. It's myself, my husband, and Christy, but now we are growing, so we hired Clancy, and I was like, we need a contract.
We're growing and we're moving. Winter time. We'll talk about that in a minute.
And then so we needed a contract, so I reached out to Tina and I asked her, hey, could I get a copy of your team contract and see how it's written? And then I reached out to Mark Z and I said, can I get your team contract? And then I blended it to what didn't apply from the mega team, to what didn't apply from North Carolina, to what I wanted to make sure that it's a part of our contract. So that was a great idea. May 6th, Aww. There was a post that I made where there was 4 of us on the couch. It was myself and Christy and my house assistant and my personal assistant. And so it got to the point where you can't do it all, guys. I remember being on a phone call with somebody and saying, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm running a load of laundry. And he was like, wow, that's an expensive load of laundry. And I was like, what? I don't get it. And he was like, what's your hourly rate? I said, well, if you take in consideration that my average commission is about 9,000 to 10,000, I work about 10 hours on the transaction, so that's about $900 an hour. He said, okay, so you're doing a $900 an hour load of laundry. I was like, whoa. So if I hire somebody to help me do the load of laundry, because that stuff still needs to get taken care of. Like, I'm a mom of 2, and we have a dog, and we have a household to run, and there's grocery shopping and laundry, and yada, yada, yada. That still needs to be taken care of. But now, if I can promise to myself, then I am going to take that hour, and I'm going to do the next thing that is the most return on my investment, meaning that I can make the most amount of money in that hour, then it's absolutely stupid of me not hiring an assistant. So then in that photo, you get to see that there's my personal assistant who helps me with everything of like scheduling a doctor's appointment, to walking the dog, to, taking dry cleaning stuff to the store, to picking me up from the airport, to scheduling my flight, my hotel, that kind of stuff, to the house assistant who helps us with everything. We have a party, please clean up. After a party, please do that. Laundry, you name it, everything that the house needs, grocery shop for the party, those kind of things. And that could be real estate related or personal. We had that, and then I have my Christy. I can't do anything without my Christy. So that was a big deal. May 19th, I did my first EXP Vegas trip. June 4th, met the founder of EXP. And that was in Orlando.
The man.
He's amazing.
The man.
Like, could you imagine changing the industry?
Changing so many people's lives.
So many people's lives. Like, I think some of the most millionaires and mega millionaires have came from this model.
The most unselfish company in...
So he was
one of the most unselfish in the US. It's unbelievable. In the world.
So I met him on May 19th. On May 29th, I had my very first podcast where I was in an actual studio. Like, that was a big deal.
Oh, that's cool. I remember that.
Like, I have done podcasts, but I've never done it like in a studio. So that was a big deal.
If I'm doing 50 to 100 or even more than that, then that adds up. So that was the one reason. The second reason is the revenue shares.
June 22nd, Mark Z and I started a 10-week series. So that was awesome, and that was huge. You got to come to a couple of them.
Really good,
there was a house. Well, this is before COVID, guys, when we actually get to like have people come in and be in a physical space with them. So we started a series that was a 10-week series and took you through anything from the basics of marketing to branding to social media, to open houses, the listing side of a transaction, a buy side of a transaction, how to build a team, how to make 6 digits passive income, how to, like all of those things. Take you from day one of real estate to like rock star agent in real estate. And that was such a hit. We had tens and hundreds of agents showing up in person, and then we did that in live and we recorded it. So that was a huge hit. And guys, I got to do that with Mark Z. If you don't know who Mark Z is, if you're watching this from the other end of the world, let me tell you, Mark Z has a billboard, like a 40 by 20 billboard every 8 feet on the freaking highway. The busiest highway in Michigan, okay?
For sure.
Me, little Gogo, got to do a training session with Mark Z. Like, that was huge, and that probably would have never happened. Mark Z would have never given me the time of the day, not because he's not a nice person, just because he's in the business of making money, and I was nowhere on his radar at the time, because that relationship would have never equaled into money. We both in the same industry. We both in it for the next transaction. But now the next transaction, when I grow, he grows, and that was amazing. July 3rd, got my first EXP award. So that one, I wish I could oh, you broke it. I was like, go grab it. No, we can't because they got broken.
Yeah, about that.
We were dusting and it got broken. It was a glass trophy.
Glass trophies.
About yay big. It's about yay big. True, we can talk about the stacks trophies. But that was my very first trophy that I got from EXP, and that was for agent attraction. So I attracted over 40 agents to the company, and by that means that I changed 40 lives in less than 6 months. I think you were one of the fastest too, weren't you? One of the first ones to do that, to get to 40 in less than 6 months. And what that means is that as you can see, I'm freaking excited about this, and I talked to many agents, and they were like, tell me more. And when I did, they were like, okay, where do I sign? And they signed right there and they joined the company. It's that simple. So because doing that, I got a glass trophy. They had this thing going on where 2 for 20, I think, in 2020. So bring 2 agents to the company in 2020. Well, I'm a little bit of an overachiever, so I did 40. Okay. August, where are we? Now we're on August 6th. I got to talk in front of 1,100 realtors in Vegas.
This was cool.
That was a big deal.
I wish I was there. But the video was amazing.
So that was August 6th. August 22nd, there's a picture of me talking. The room actually got to be bigger than 1,100. It was almost 2,000 agents. So there's a picture of me doing that. Like, okay, let me tell you this story. I remember, what was that training program you went through?
Dale Carnegie.
He went through a Dale Carnegie. This is before I'm even a realtor.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me about it, and I was like, how on earth would you stand up in front of people and talk? I could not even.
It was probably one of your biggest fears. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, and that's no different. I think everybody's like that. There's the 2 biggest fears in humans are public speaking and death.
Really?
It's those 2 for sure. Absolutely.
Sharks?
Sharks is probably 3rd. You know?
Did you know, by the way, that coconuts kill more people than sharks? A coconut dropping on your head will kill you.
And how many palm trees and coconut trees did you live in?
A lot in Florida. So, but that was awesome though. That was in August 22nd. Yep. September 14th, you had an eye problem.
Oh, so this was a big fundamental shift.
He had an eye problem.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Tell him.
Yeah, so basically, this was, she was a year into EXP, and basically, revenue share had become a very stable, very healthy number. So it got to the point of, I was in corporate America for 20 years. There was, certain things that, I love the company I work for, I love the people, but it was just time for me to step out, really. And this,
I think he was jealous of my freedom.
I was very jealous of your freedom. And this allowed me the opportunity. So basically, I walked into my boss's office. He was a great guy, all that kind of stuff. But I told him, I said, hey, boss, I need to talk to you Monday morning. He's like, what's going on? I said, I've got an eye problem. And I'll never forget, he kind of touched his eye a little bit. And he said, what's wrong with your eye?
What's wrong with your eye?
I said, I don't see myself working for you anymore.
I don't see myself working for you anymore.
So it was a big step out, a big change in my life after 20 years of going in, 8 to 5. And those hours would be a little questionable, but still.
It was never a time. Never in 20
But still,
years.
it was an amazing time in our lives where I could basically step out of corporate America, stepped into real estate full time, 100%. I got licensed a few months before that, and basically at that time got a few transactions under my belt and started building my own downline and organization and sponsoring agents into the company, seeing the potential that we have and Gogo gives them. So it was an amazing thing. And
so I was actually in Fort Myers on stage speaking, and just before I'm walking up on stage, he texts me, he goes, I told him I have an eye problem. So when I got on stage, and this is a social media training, by the way,
oh, you're right.
I went on there and told them all, because it was a big deal. I told him, I said, listen, when my revenue share passes your income, you can quit. Because at that point I felt like we can have that freedom. We've worked so hard for it that you get to choose what kind of lifestyle you want for your future. And for us, one big deal, one thing that held you back for a long time was health insurance.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you guys knew this, but we have our genetic cocktail created. So both of us are perfectly fine, but my sister has an autoimmune called celiac, and his brother has an autoimmune, and his grandma is thyroidism. So the 2 of us, which we are fine, but our genes were not fine. So together we created a child with type 1 diabetes. So our oldest, Kobe, is type 1 diabetic, and because of that, I mean, he's a technological gadget person walking around every day, and he probably costs what, $7,000 a month.
Yeah, he's got 2 devices he wears to help us improve his health and keep his health good. But yeah, it's very expensive to do so, for sure.
So it was a huge thing for us, of him leaving corporate America and losing that health insurance. Like, what are we going to do? Both of us self-employed. Like, how are you going to afford that? Yeah. So as soon as my revenue share did that, and then EXP, I swear EXP came out with the healthcare program Clearwater right at the same time. I mean, we could go back and probably check
Yeah.
workplace, but
Yeah.
I swear it was right at the time when
It
he
was
quit, they
unbelievable.
came out with health insurance.
It
We're
was
like,
unbelievable.
oh!
Yeah, for sure.
Literally, it was a godsend.
Yeah.
So now we have, by the way, EXP has health insurance. We are covered by the EXP health insurance, and Kobe is covered by that as well. And we have an additional state coverage for him that covers his diabetes stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other
So
story.
one thing I'll say, and I know we're running out of time, but this is a situation where I don't think we were 100% financially ready for me to step out. I mean, there was an unknown. There was a couple weeks where we didn't know EXP was going to come out with healthcare, if I remember correctly. So, there's this time when the time is right, and and you trust your gut, and you just, if you're going to put the work in and do the effort, sometimes you just got to jump and build the plane as you fly it, right?
Build a plane on the way down. As they say, you jump and you figure it out.
On the way down, for sure.
Yeah, and we did
It was
jump.
one of those situations for sure. And, I say we got a few months that were a little tight under our belt for sure, but
here we are.
we're good. Like
October
we
2nd,
made it, thank God.
I got to speak again. So EXP Con, so there's 2 large EXP events every single year. First is shareholders, which I thought was crazy. I'm sitting behind this person at the shareholders in Orlando, and I asked him, oh, hey, were you an agent? And he goes, I'm not an agent, I'm an investor. And I was like, what are you doing here? Should have had a V8 as that commercial, figured out that anybody can own stocks in EXP. We were NASDAQ traded. So I was like, oh, so the shareholders event is for everybody that owns EXP stocks, which, by the way, if you're watching this and you don't own EXP stocks, you might want to check it out. I am no financial advisor, and this is my disclaimer. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything that I'm talking about. I'm bland, as you can see it. So you should not take financial advice from me, but you should still check it out. So that was a shareholders event, and that's usually in Orlando in April every year, but COVID is in town, so that's going to be online this year. Then the next one is early October, first week of October is EXP Con, and that's in Vegas. So at EXP Con October 2nd in Vegas, I thought I got to talk again in front of 4,000 agents originally. It ended up being almost 6,000 agents. Can you imagine talking in front of 6,000 agents?
And you crushed it.
And I crushed it. I mean, it was like, you know what it's like? It's like a runner's high. Like you get to speak up there and get these, can't even tell you. I can't wait to do it again. It was so exciting. October 17th, I had 40,000 followers. That was last year on October 17th. That's a big deal.
Yep.
October 25th,
Yep.
who got their first agent? This one. So he quit his corporate America job on September 14th, told his boss.
Yep.
October 2nd was the last day of work.
Yep.
And October 28th, October 25th, you got your first agent.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And he's awesome. His name is
He
John.
awesome. John Kinnanen.
You're the man. That guy calls me every morning at 9 o'clock. That's how driven he is. I told him I'll be his coach, but you'll call me every morning at 9 o'clock. He calls me every morning at 9 o'clock. He called me freaking 9. He called me on a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, and I was like, John, how about weekends off? He calls me every other morning at 9 o'clock, and he asks me the question for the day, and I help him with whatever I can. If I don't know the answer to his question, I make the introduction, and he is rocking and rolling. I'm so proud of him. He got licensed in Florida, so now he's licensed in both states, in Michigan and in Florida. It's just amazing.
And that's the coolest part of this company is it's hard to make time for people, but when it's business and it's
and
easier.
if he's that driven,
and they turn into friends, and it's just you keep this way. You get to keep them in your life no matter what, because a friend comes over, boom, now you're a friend and in business, and it's this way.
Your
you can spend
success
so
is
much
my
more time
success.
with those friends. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. We've met so many great people. I mean, there's people that we probably haven't even met that we Zoom over or we Zoom hung out with. I mean, it's just that's the best part of it all for sure.
So at EXP, you get to hold multiple licenses, and you only have one cap and one fee.
Yeah.
So when John realized that, he's like, I always want to live in Florida. I'm going to get my Florida license. He owns a pizza shop. He's going to sell his pizza shop, and he's going to go down in Florida and have multiple state licenses.
He's got an active listing in Florida right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So the next one is on October 28th of 19, I won a free ticket to Date with Destiny of Tony Robbins.
What's new? Let's be honest. What's new?
And we get back to our seats and conversation's good. Next thing you know, he runs up to us, gives us a
thing to sign on. He goes, fill this out. Every year I get 2 complimentary tickets, and I wanted to give it to you guys. So I ended up going to Business Mastery for free. Do you see, there was a reason why, and I don't know why, but God wants my education to come free to me. And maybe you can help me explain, what does that mean? Why? I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm like a sponge for information. But why?
Oh my gosh, I have the bestest look. I mean, I always say that, very fortunate. I always say that my past life must have really sucked. And God is really trying to make up for it, because this one is a really good one.
Yeah.
So I have gone to every event of Tony Robbins, which, by the way, I should be mailing a check every time I make money to Tony Robbins, because it's his doing and everything I have learned at his events. So I've done UPW in New Jersey, which is Unleash the Power Within by Tony Robbins. I did this Business Mastery. I did that one in West Palm Beach, and then I did Date with Destiny and did UPW again. So, but I won Date with Destiny because Stanford University was having a study I entered to see what it's like, how do people's life get affected by going to a Tony Robbins event. And out of, I don't know how many hundreds and thousands of applicants, they chose me. There was like 30 of us in the room, so that was amazing. So I got to do that on October 28th, that's when I found out.
Yep.
November 21st, we were 112 agents strong.
Gotcha.
So that was less than a year ago, 112 agents. And then a year later, so we were talking 2020, not even November yet, so we were talking 2020 October. So 11 months later, we are almost at 300.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's amazing. Like we changed 300 lives. Like my life got changed. Like your life got changed.
For sure it did.
And we got to help 300 agents change their lives and their destiny and their
futures, their stock.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
So on December 5th, at the Date with Destiny thing, I met Rock Thomas. Now, I don't know if you guys know Rock Thomas, but this is one of those stories where I'm walking to my seat at the Date with Destiny at Tony Robbins event, and this guy is walking towards me, and this has happened many times before, where my mouth talks before my brain can tell my mouth not to freaking talk, okay? So this is one of those stories.
No filter.
No filter. So I'm walking towards my seat at the Date with Destiny event, and Rock Thomas is walking towards me, and I was like, oh, I know you. And Rock Thomas says, oh my gosh, you are the Gogo chick. And I was like, oh, he knows my name. But my life got changed that day. So I got to know Rock Thomas. If you don't know him, go to Goalcast and put in Rock Thomas on YouTube and watch his Goalcast video. So his childhood and my childhood is a lot alike. And so I watched his Goalcast video 100 times over, and I don't know when I cried that hard.
Tremendous video.
I mean, I couldn't tell my snot from my saliva. I cried so hard because it was so close to my heart. But I got to meet him in person. Now, where I want to go, fast forward, now I'm an M1 member. So Rock Thomas has M1. It's a whole life millionaire program. Whole life millionaire program. I can't say that. Say that twice fast. And he has changed our lives. So he came to my podcast. We talked about many things, and then we talked about financial freedom, and we talked about being that millionaire, that multi-millionaire, that reaching your goals and living that best life that you worked so hard for. And so when I joined the program, believe it or not, as much money as we have been making at the time, can I share that?
Sure.
At the time, okay, so how do I say this? We have made over $500,000 in a year and still had about $89,000 in credit card debt. Maybe you didn't hear me, $89,000 in credit card debt. And I was like, that can't be. How does someone make $500,000 and have $89,000 in credit card debt?
Yeah, for real.
Like that's insane, that's insanity. So I started watching videos about money. I figured out I'm really good at making money. But clearly there's phases to money. There's the making money part, there's a saving money part, and there's a compounding effect of growing money. But I clearly had no idea about the other second and the third step of money. Nor did you?
No.
No. We were really good at making it and spending it. Making it and spending it. And no investments, no nothing. I was like, this is stupid. How do you spend $500,000 and still be $89,000 in credit card debt? So then I joined M1, and this, like, what I'm trying to get with this is that you meet people along the way that are going to teach you a lesson, or they're here to teach you something that is going to catapult you to the best version of your next level. And that's how I feel like what happened after I joined M1. So after I did the podcast with Rock Thomas, he said, you need to join M1. I'm like, what's M1?
Yeah.
So is this millionaire program? So I did in 3 months. In 3 months, we were 100% debt free. And sorry about my English, we have changed our net worth by $300,000 in 3 months. Not only we paid off all our debt, so we are debt free, but we have changed our net worth by $300,000 in 3 months. Like, that's the power of someone crossing your path. And trust me, God put him in there. I didn't put him in there. God made sure that when I'm walking towards my chair, Rock Thomas was leaving his, and I point him out of the group, and I talk before my brain tells me to shut up because I said I know you, and I didn't. I thought I knew him because I watched his video 1,000,000 times over, so my brain thought I knew him. Like, that's insane. So that was on, where are we? Okay, that was on December 5th. December 14th, Mark Z has a Christmas party every year. So we got to go there, and I got my next glass trophy that said the best recruiter of the year. Top recruiter, sorry.
She literally came onto the scene, took the industry by storm. Everybody in the industry knows her now. If you're not following her on social media, you need to. Please help welcome Miss Gogo!
And that was just awesome. Guys, I don't know how you feel about being recognized and achieving things in your career that you worked so hard for, but it sure feels like a warm and fuzzy little feeling for the heart where you're being recognized for your hard work, and I got the top recruiter of the year. And then I think the best part was of having, you remember all the silly selfies we took?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So they had a photographer and like a backsplash and all that, and we had all of these like silly selfies, and being able to take selfies, guys, with like the biggest badasses in the industry that you work in, it was life-changing. Fast forward to January 2020. I was voted best realtor in Brighton, Michigan. I have a glass trophy for that as well. January 22nd. Oh, that's a good one.
I made the best bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich with some hearty thick cut bacon.
You guys don't know where we are going with this one. So Dwayne, by the way, is the best chef, one of the best chefs that I know. I love food. So he made this like BLT sandwich that was like mayo and salt and pepper and thick cut tomatoes that are like steak. And then
beefsteak tomatoes.
Yes, and then he put this like thick cut bacon on it. So here I am sitting at the kitchen island, imagine it. And I'm holding my big hefty sandwich, and I took a bite. First bite, by the way, first bite. I took a bite and I hear something crack. And I was like, my brain is like, oh, it's the bacon. But then I'm trying to separate the sandwich from my mouth, and it's not separating. I was like, oh. And then I put my tongue up there, and I was like,
your what?
My tongue.
Your what?
My tongue. What is it?
Tongue. You're good.
Can you translate for me?
Tongue, you're right.
So I put my tongue up there, and there was no tooth. So this front tooth, my right front tooth, was sticking out forward. I lost my front tooth.
Correct.
On January 22nd. Guys, I have built and lived my real estate life on social media. Can you imagine being a top producing agent and not having a front tooth? Going to a listing appointment of a $1.something million listing and you don't have a front tooth? I was like, Dwayne! I couldn't even yell. I was like, Dwayne, come here.
That's not good.
Oh my gosh, that was January 22nd.
Okay.
March 13th, I was voted #1 social media agent in the whole state of Michigan, and that's Property Sharks, you can check it. For every state, they vote who is the best social media agent. And
let's be honest, US, they're probably the best in the US. You know, come on.
I mean, they
You can buy followers. It's not about followers. It's
I
about
think we Michigan, but maybe I'll do okay.
engagement,
Maybe
all
I'll
that
do
stuff.
nationwide. And thank you so much for every single
biased.
one of you
biased.
that have supported me through the years. May 1st, Detroit Free Press came out to our house. Well, that was
that was hot COVID.
That's like
Hot COVID.
middle of COVID. So the photographer never even entered our house. So they did an interview about how did COVID affect our lives and our career and what is different in real estate. And he walked around the property. We had to open that window that you see behind us, and he shot through the window.
Shot pictures
through the window. That was March.
Open windows.
Yeah, March 1st or May 1st. July 16th, I flew out to San Diego. So in the meantime, fast forward to July, mid-year of 2020 from October of 2018, so a year and a half-ish, I have attracted over 100 agents to the company. So we have came out with a course. So Gogo's Bootcamp is one of the courses that I have built through my career that's about social media and helping other agents to build a brand, lead generate with your own brand, where you don't have to spend $1,000 of leads. And then we added on July 16th, where I flew out to San Diego and we shot over 200 videos about agent attraction. So we have a whole course about agent attraction and what it's like and all the systems and the steps that I take and the onboarding process and you name it, everything. So that everybody else who wants to do and build an organization and take it to the next level and the moon and 10 circles around it, they get to do that and take any of my systems and processes that we have implemented. And then August 25th, I had my 100th agent join. That was a big deal.
It was.
Guys, I'm an individual agent. Used to be. I keep saying that, even though we've been a team for a while now.
Yeah, and you've
But
had
I-
some teams in the past, but
But I still feel like a cute
for the
little.
most part,
I feel like Nemo compared to the sharks. So August 25th, 100 agents joined. September 11th, I had my very first agent from Canada who joined. So EXP is international.
Yep.
We have United States, every state in the United States. We have Canada. We have England, Australia. We are opening France, Portugal, India, South Africa, and Mexico. And then some of the other countries are in the making. So it's a big deal. Like that was my first team, so sad that has joined in Canada outside of the US. Now we cover almost every state in the US. We cover Canada and England. We have an agent that's joining us soon from Portugal. So it's amazing. So the next one was stocks.
yeah.
So between Dwayne and I, in 2 years, our stocks, remember when we talked about of like, what if you leave your brokerage today? What if you say, thank you so much, I gave you 15 years of my life, I'm ready to move on and take the next step in my career. What do you have to show for? We have been with the company, for you it's a year, in July.
Well,
July was your first.
yeah, but full time.
But full-time October, yeah. So for me, October was my second year. But between the two of us, and we are a husband and wife, both with EXP, our stocks, guys, is over $175,000.
It's crazy.
How much is your glass trophy worth?
It's so crazy.
Can you imagine? I still have glass trophies too. But on top of it,
you still get those.
I still get glass
They still get
trophies. But on top of it, we actually have something to retire on. Like that is insanity. Like spending
It's
20
back
years.
to the most unselfish business model ever created, I swear. It's
Mind-blowing.
amazing.
So that's
It's fun.
stocks. The next one I want to talk about is revenue share. Tina Call actually opened my eyes to this when I sat into her presentation this week. And she was talking about how we're not allowed to necessarily share revenue share numbers, but I want to talk about what is it like. It is life-changing. So revenue share is amount of cash deposited into your bank account on the 22nd of every month that comes from EXP, and they say kind of like the 6 degrees of separation. So for example, just so you understand, let's say I close on a transaction. My sponsor is Kurt Shiwa because he brought me to the company and I'm still capping as I'm closing these transactions. Kurt Shiwa is going to make 3.5% of my transaction of my total commission. Mark Z above him is going to make 3.8% of the total commission. Yada, 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 7 generations up. So the way they look at it, every generation is different. The company keeps 1.5%. The difference between, so when I close on a transaction, just so you understand, I pay 20% to the company, I keep 80%. Okay, I paid it until my 20% reaches $16,000 for the year.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so when I'm paying in the 20%, the company keeps 1.5%, 18.5% gets divided between the 7 generations above you, meaning is the 6 degrees of separation. You have heard of the 6 degrees of separation. So the company says if it wasn't for let's start from the top, from Michael Reese bringing Chuck Fazio, and Chuck Fazio bringing Curtis Johnson, and Curtis Johnson bringing Dan Beer, and Dan Beer bringing Mark Z, and Mark Z bringing Curtis, and Curtis bringing me, I would have never generated this revenue to the company. So since this revenue got generated, now everybody gets a chunk because it's our cumulative doing that money just got brought to EXP. Does it make sense? So that's revenue share. So the agents that you bring to the company, which by the way, you don't have to bring anyone. Less than 10% of the agents actually brought somebody to the company at EXP. So you don't have to. If you just want to do the next transaction, you can just do the next transaction. It's perfectly fine.
Yep.
But if you have a cousin in Nevada and another cousin in Miami and they happen to be doing real estate and you happen to be really excited, really happy of all of your success here, you're going to talk about it. And when they say, Gogo, why did you do that? And then you tell them, and then they want to join, they join. Everybody that joins the company has to name someone who is their sponsor. So actually their ICA, their independent contractor agreement, when they sign it, one of the questions on there is, hey, who's responsible for you joining? And they're gonna say it's Gogo. So 106 agents said it's my responsibility that they join the company, so they join. When they close on their transaction and they pay their 20% to the company, because I am their direct sponsor and they are what's called my first generation, I make 3.5% of the total commission until they cap. When they are done paying their 20%, I no longer make anything. They're on to making Icon and get all of their money back, and then it starts over the next year. So it's almost like we are incentivized to help each other grow and sell more real estate. And that grows, by the way, guys, believe it or not, it goes 7 generations deep. Because the company said, if it wasn't for me bringing Yasmin, who brought Tay, who brought these other people, who brought these other people, they would have not been at the company, we would have not generated the revenue, so it got shared. So that's what gets deposited in the 22nd of every month into your account. Now, if you take in consideration, let's say you have a financial advisor, and you have this money, this certain amount of money saved into your bank account, okay? And they say, well, you're only 39 years old. If you start drawing against the savings account to have passive income, you're going to outlive your money. So usually your financial advisor is going to tell you that you can take money out at like a 3 or 4 or max of 5%, but usually they're going to tell you to take less than 4% out, or you are going to outlive your money.
Yeah, once you're retired and you're 65 or what is 62, whatever.
Well, I'm 39 and I'm retired, okay? So what it looks like, if I had $4.5 million in the bank account, and I was drawing against it at a 5% rate, that's what my revenue share looks like every single month right now in our bank account that gets directly deposited. That is insanity. It has changed our life. We are 100% debt free. We can passively live off of, or we can 100% live off of passive income.
Yeah.
We do no longer have to change the next transaction. Do we change the next transaction? Absolutely. Are we both realtors? Absolutely. Do we have a real estate team? Absolutely. But are we dependent on that next transaction to close to pay the bills? No. And that is because of Glenn Sanford, and because he cares about the agent, because he's been an agent.
Yeah.
And he knows what it's like to be like, oh, how are we going to pay the bills next month? This has changed our life.
Because you never see real estate agents retire. It's
yeah, real estate agents don't retire; they die. That was another quote that we posted not long ago.
Yeah.
And that not most importantly, but it was kind of a big deal, because a couple of days ago I logged into my credit card and all of our credit cards are paid off. Thank you, Jesus. But you know how they have the FICO score things in there? And always, I have never had a late payment on any of our credit cards. It was always paid. But our credit score, or my credit score, I don't know if you have checked yours, but my credit score came back in the 800s.
I didn't check mine.
800s! Like, that is incredible. Like, 2 years at EXP has changed our lives. And now, you want to tell them about December 1st of this year?
December 1st.
What's on December 1st of this year?
I don't know, remind me.
Oh my gosh, she doesn't remember. What did I just send payment for today?
What?
No,
What?
that too, but a rental in Florida.
Oh, gotcha, coming up December 1st. Okay.
Yes,
gotcha,
this
gotcha.
year, December 1st.
Yeah, so this is this has been something that we've been wanting to do for how many years?
Gosh, we talked
Oh
about
my
it.
gosh.
If you're our friends or if you've been following me, you probably are.
You know, because I've done
Sick
some
of
April
it.
Fool's jokes and stuff like that. Like, we're moving. Guess what we just bought? But yeah, we're going somewhere on December 1st.
So we are moving officially. We're gonna be snowbirds in Florida.
Yes.
Because we are not trees, John Kitchens,
Thank
and we
you,
can
John.
move. So our plan is to have the kids go to school online in the winter months and live down in Florida December to April every single year. And we got pretty much ready to buy a second home in Florida.
Yeah.
So we have a rental, we have an Airbnb for the month of December and January. And then we are going to use that time to search where do we want
And
to
we've
live.
already got the best agents in our organization are down there. Like,
Yeah, we
seriously,
probably
we've
have
got
30, 40 agents in Florida now that are our
Yeah,
business partners.
yeah.
So yeah, we get to live in Florida for the winters. We are done with cold weather and winter months.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
so thank you. If you made it this far through this video, gosh, goodness gracious, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're not with us at EXP yet, I urge you, just send me a message, DM me. There's a million ways how you can get into my calendar or Dwayne's, and just reach out to us. Ask me anything. I am an open book. I am here to help you so you can live your best life. So you can take your business and, this quote just keep popping up in my head that the good is the enemy of great. I'm sure you have a good life. I'm sure you're a hustler. I'm sure you're a top producer. And I'm sure you're doing good. But imagine if you can take that to be doing great.
Yeah.
And that's the difference with some of the brokerages versus where we are. And yes, I'm biased. And this might not be for you. And
But
that's
here,
okay.
you have to put your ego aside and make a good business decision for you and your family. That's the bottom line. And listen, we're 36,000 agents right now. Let's just take, for example, one of our competitors, KW, 180,000 agents, I think it is, somewhere around there.
I don't know the numbers. Yeah.
Something like that. And if you look in the whole, between the US and Canada, there's 2.4
4
million agents. And we're only at 36,000.
Yeah.
We're clearly the fastest growing
We are just
brokerage
a drop
out there
in the
for a
ocean.
reason. But it's still early. Don't think it's too late, because it's not. But man,
And we just started hearing about EXP. If you think about it, now EXP is everywhere. But let me break you the news. EXP is 11 years old.
yeah.
11.
And still today, people are like, "Oh, I don't know about, is this sustainable?" All this kind of stuff. Like, what? Are you?
Have you checked our
what?
stock prices?
We're opening up in all these countries because this model is proven. It's sustainable. It's the easiest model to open anywhere, especially in the times of COVID. Like, we've got the EXP World training platforms.
Everything in the
It's
up
just,
in there.
you name it, it's phenomenal. Brad
Cyberspace.
Sanford is a genius. Praise to him, and phenomenal people like you and that have the drive to do it. It's awesome. It's so phenomenal.
So thank you so much for watching us. This is our 2-year recap of what has happened in the past 2 years since joining EXP.
Yep.
It was absolutely the best business decision I have ever made in my career. I thank the Lord for this one, for kind of forcing me to do it, because I was certainly taking my sweet time making that decision. I actually lost weight over this. I was so...
Yeah, you did.
I did. So we would love to have you with us.
That's
Reach
it.
out to us if you have any questions. If any of this doesn't make sense or you don't understand, you can also go to, and I will link the link below, to the Partner With Us tab, so you can watch all of the videos about EXP, and then hopefully you'll reach out to us. I mean, we would love to have you with us. We would love to help you change your life and be able to one day retire from this, so you don't have to die. You actually get to retire as a realtor.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.